Today I want to tell you something about line graphs. Line graphs are usually used to graph data that changes over time. And I have found a little graph here for you. That graph represents Hayley's height over time. So we have two axes here again, and we're having her age down here at the bottom in steps of 4, so from 0 to 4, from 4 to 8, from 8 to 12, and so on. And the other axis represents Hayley's height in centimeters. So sometimes you find a line graph where there are dots made for you. This is just to make it easier to read a value from the graph, but it's not necessary to make those dots. But you will see that in the exercises. This line graph represents her height over time. So why does it start here? Here's a 0. Why does it start here? Because that was her height when she was born. So what can we say about that? That was, if this is 50 centimeters, we could guess or roughly say that at the age or when she was born, Hayley was roughly 45 centimeters tall. Okay, that's one information we could gather from here. Another information we see is that it is declining from here to there. So there's not much growth happening from that age, and we can investigate which age that is. So I'd say from here. And if we go down, you would see, that's between 12 and 16, so that's from 14 years of age, she pretty much stopped growing. So there's not much growth happening. She was 170 centimeters tall, and here our graph ends here at the age of 24, and there you see that she was maybe 172, 173 centimeters tall. So this is because people stop growing, right? Another thing which we can observe is how fast she's growing in which time. So we said already that for the last bit, there's not much growth happening. However, for the first bit here, that is quite a big increase in growth. So it goes up quite steeply from 0 to 4 because she is growing from 45 centimeters to 1 meter, so 100 centimeters. Between 4 years and let's say 14 years, that would be the next section here. She's growing a lot as well, but it's not that steep. The slope is not that steep as from 0 to 4 years. Okay, so we can gather a lot of information from line graphs, and sometimes you also find that there are more lines in different colors in one graph, so that makes it easier for you to compare something. One thing I want to show you is this graph down here. It's the profit of the Brown Disc Company over a calendar year. So again, if we want to interpret a graph, we need some information, and what we see here on the axis is, okay, those are the months, but first of all we see we don't know which year, so that's not specified. And we see here the profit in thousands of dollars, that's the other axis. Okay, on a first glance, you would say that is a lot of growth in the profit in just 1 year. So because it looks like as if that would be a very steep increase. However, this graph is actually misleading as it starts here with $40,000. Yeah, so that means it's missing the $30,000 below that. And if we would want to graph that graph properly, I can give it a try. It wouldn't look that steep. Okay, we're having our axis, and if we want to start here now with 0, as it usually is at the origin, and we could say this is 10,000, this is 20,000, this is 30,000, and this is 40,000. And we observe one calendar year. First of all, we note that we are missing this information here. So from where's the graph coming? We do not know that. So let's assume it just goes like that, kind of. And we also don't know within which time frame. But certainly when the company started, they were at a profit at 0. And in some time, they made it up to $40.1 thousand of profit. Okay, so and then it goes up to 41. Okay, so if this is 50, 41 is just that tiny little bit here. You see that? It's not much. Just this tiny little bit of increase. And when we draw the graph like that now, let's say the year starts here and goes up to here, it would just look like that. So this is not that impressive, and that is why we should watch carefully, especially when we see some graphs in the news, because they are often misleading. Okay, so please have a go on exercise 506. Again, the odd questions should do. So question 1, 3, and 5. And don't hesitate to ask if you have questions.